Welcome back to the Jacob Wright podcast. You are listening here from the inside of my new recording studio, which is really just the home office. I got a new camera set up, as you can probably tell, and a new desk setup. I'll give you a quick tour here. So behind me, you can see the one and only Lucy. That is my black lab. She's older now, but that was a drawing a friend of mine, Daniel Papp, made for me in college of her, and I got it framed. You see a wood duck that Lucy got for me. In the middle there are some books I'm reading. There is the American flag. That's an American flag my grandmother and I made after 9/11. And then over there we have another duck. But this is basically it. This is the studio. There's my desk right there. Got the sports equipment, golf clubs over there. And then right here we have my topics that I'm going to go through today, calendar, and some boxes and other stuff back here. But this is the setup. This is where HQ lives. And I'll be speaking to the camera here shortly. But welcome back. This is going into week 2 of being here in Silicon Valley and figuring out my life, so to speak. I had a couple of epiphanies over the weekend, one of which was I need to really start telling the story from your point of view as the viewer, as the listener. What is this show about? What am I doing that is going to make you interested or not interested? The purpose of this show is to document the growth of my career as an entrepreneur and give you some insights as well as some conversations with some people that I've found helpful throughout my career, and maybe give some advice, or maybe you can learn something along the way. This week in this episode, what I'm going to be talking about are, number one, the biggest announcement that I have so far this year. Number 2 is some fun things that I've been doing. Then coming up after that is some self-reflection on earlier this year. And then finally is maybe some more philosophical conversations, as well as some go-to-market strategies in there as well. So let's bust right into it. First thing, number one exciting moment this episode is about is we are officially going to market. You can now look up the company WorqAgent, WorqAgent.com, WorkAgent.com. WorkAgent is my platform, as I'm a co-founder, a part of, with Hariraj Dial, my partner, and we have launched an AI employee workforce management platform. That's a whole bunch of jumble to say we have created a way for businesses to hire AI employees to run operations within the business. This week, I am going to market, and we can go right into go-to-market strategy and maybe some of my thoughts here. But going to market means we are going to market the product and attempt to go from 0 to 1. That's a fun phrase in startup land, meaning going from 0 paying customers to 1. That is always the biggest hurdle. There's a lot of inner turmoil, second guessing, but the truth of the matter is that you will never, as an entrepreneur, figure out what is going to get you from 0 to 1 until you go out and attempt to get 0 to 1. So that's what I am doing this week. That is the number one objective. Go-to-market strategy begins with entering the veterinary space. This is the space that I have spent my entire career. It's where I've started a previous company where I learned a lot about operations and how broken they are, and saw the need for this platform, and luckily found a partner that is technically capable of building it, but also aligned with the vision because his wife is in medicine and saw the same problems. This was the platform that I wished I had when I was a business operator. It would have eliminated my job duties as an admin, which is what I wanted to happen. not only would that have made operations easier, but it would have made the margins on the business better. And that is the objective. Going to market in the veterinary space, entering the space, my first plan this week is to go to all of my warm contacts. These are contacts that I've formed over the last few years in the space in my personal career. These are vet group operators or vet group owners themselves, and they are going through the same pains that I was going through as an admin of a veterinary group. That's strategy number one. Number two is I'm going to be channeling a lot of my messaging on social media, LinkedIn, X, about WorqAgent, and start talking about it, selling it online. In addition, my content, my personal content like this about making an AI company is going to increase. I'm going to be sharing what it's like behind the scenes, sharing maybe some of this. This crazy monitor contraption I just got today is kind of cool. I think it's cool. They're stacked on top of each other. It helps with going back and forth between tabs. You don't have to look left and right, which I found easier. Anyway, going to market vet space, going to talk to my contacts and see who's out there in need of this solution. But at the end of the day, that is the big announcement. WorqAgent is here, and businesses now are able to replace admin with AI. And that is what I've created and now have brought to market. Big step. It's funny. I was looking back at my calendar here. You can see I call it my war board. It's right there. If it'll focus. Probably won't focus. Sorry about that. My calendar back in January of this year, I was living in San Diego, and I had on my calendar an event. And we would do these events in San Diego to grow clients where, thanks to the recommendation of one of my great friends, go to these apartment complexes, very much like the one I'm living in now, and go there once a week or maybe twice a month and go service their pets. And it was funny, in January of this year, I was at one of those events, being a volunteer veterinary technician, not paying myself, trying to get the business off the ground, working alongside my providers, my great team, marketing and selling mobile veterinary services. And today I'm sitting in my home office, home studio, so to speak, in Silicon Valley. It seems like a dream, but it's pretty crazy. Part of the go-to-market strategy that you'll talk about or hear about with various startups is their pricing strategy. And there's a pricing strategy that we're working on that I like to pretend that we invented. We didn't, but I'll say we invented it, called a PPO, pay per outcome. And I believe that across tech, you will see this rapidly increase with services, because here's what's happening. Since the .com boom and explosion, we've had SaaS, software as a service, explode. And the goal of SaaS was to make it easier for a human being to work on a computer to do an objective. It's much easier to write in an Excel sheet visually as a human than to write on the command line, but you can do it still on the command line. That was the whole intent of SaaS. SaaS was this layer over a computer, over a machine for humans to use. And now we're entering the AI world. But what will also change is pricing. Since this .com boom, SaaS has always been on a subscription model, or more recently, a per seat model, where if you want 5 people to use your QuickBooks account, you pay X dollars a month, and then you pay extra per seat to have those people have access to your QuickBooks account. That's essentially the same pricing strategy for all of SaaS. But now we're into AI. And what I believe will change, and what we are doing, is going to PPO, pay per outcome, where businesses especially will only pay when work gets completed rather than paying a fixed monthly cost or fixed yearly cost as a flat fee for a, in this case, AI system. The reason I think we need to switch this and why we're going to be positioning this, I'll come back and tell you how the pricing strategy is going with clients. The reason I want to do it this way is because something I learned as an operator with multiple locations and logistics and things going on all over the place, something I learned was variable costs, at least in my opinion then, were better than fixed cost. And it was funny because when I went into business, I naively thought, okay, if we just have all fixed cost, it'll be easy math. We know what we have to make. Bada boom, bada bing, we're done. Great. And that is true. It's less compute in your head. But here's the kicker. When you're starting a business, growing a business, scaling a business, changing business dynamics, you want your costs to fluctuate with your change. You don't want to be stuck in fixed costs while you're trying to change or grow a business. Classic example. In one of our locations, we had a reception service, a remote reception service, and we were growing the location. And when we first started the location, income was zero because we had zero clients and we had to grow clients. But we still had this fixed cost monthly, and we had to cough up that money every month, even though the business hadn't grown to catch up yet. What I quickly learned being a business operator, especially with many logistics, is that you want variable costs. If you're not working, you don't want to pay anything. Ideally, in a perfect world, if a mobile vet van is parked, not seeing appointments, you have zero overhead, but that's just not true. You have a car payment, insurance, office, state fees, other things going on. My vision and what we are pushing at WorqAgent is if we change or allow businesses to change their operating costs to more variable costs than fixed costs, we completely change the economics of businesses, of small businesses, big businesses, groups, everything. We now have unlocked margin that was formerly thought of as impossible, that you're just stuck in this small margin service business and there's no way to grow that margin. You can only grow locations. So that's what we're going to be pushing. And I have initial reactions that we're going to see favorability from that. I think there's going to be, at first, that's going to be expected by the client, because if they're an early adopter of our AI employees and they're employing them in their business, they're going to have some hesitation about something. And so the pricing strategy, I believe, will mitigate some of that. Next thing I want to talk about is the philosopher. Let me look up his name, make sure I get this right. Marshall McLuhan, Canadian philosopher and academic and media theorist. And he was most famous for his amorphism, the medium is the message, which suggests that the characteristics of a medium have a greater impact on society than the content it carries. Something that he said that I think is very interesting at this time, and especially being in the Valley now and seeing AI this, AI that, tech this, robotics, all this stuff all the time, is he says that human beings are the sex organs of machines. And it's very provocative thought, also worrisome, but it kind of makes a little bit of sense. If you are humans and you're building machines to do things autonomously, and at a certain point you have crossed the threshold with the machine to where it can have its own decision-making power, at that point, what happens then to the human? It seems like a machine is now managing all animals, which human beings still are. I think in the coming years, we're going to see a lot more conversation as a species talking about humanity as an animal, humanity as a species, humanity being closer to dogs and monkeys than to our AI counterparts. Super human thinking, super intelligence. It's not right around the corner, it's already here. People are just in denial or not seeing what's happening. But I think there's going to be a lot more conversation coming up in the future about us as animals and what that means for the future of our species. Closing thoughts here. This is kind of a fun thing I've been doing. I recently was playing softball with my brother-in-law, and I hurt my hand, my right hand, which is my throwing hand. Although I write left-handed, I throw right-handed, and I hurt my right hand. And so something that's been fun is I've been taking the dog out and throwing the ball for her, but I've been throwing with my left hand, which is fun. And it's kind of funny. I've been laughing while learning to throw left-handed. Maybe I should have been throwing left-handed all along. I was never a great baseball player, but I like to think I was. And maybe I should have just been a left-handed baseball player the whole time. But anyway, thanks for listening to this week of the Jacob Wright podcast. This is coming to you on Monday, July 7th. Be on the lookout across the rest of social media land for more updates. A lot more content is going to be coming about the new business. And I'm going to be talking real time about go-to-market strategy, pricing, sales conversations, all of that stuff to get your feedback, insights, and ideas on how to grow it. Thanks for listening.